I couldn't even imagine what it would have been like to be stationed in this back in the day. And that tent has absolutely flew up compared to the other times I've pitched it. It's been an absolute dream of a mod.
Welcome back to Boards Raiders. If it's your first time joining us, thanks for tuning in. So we're back out in the Lake District today and we're just in the Hardknott region. So I think the plan first of all, we're going to go over and check out the Roman fort before heading up onto Border End and then eventually onto Hardknott itself. Hopefully get some nice views overlooking Eskdale Valley and towards the Scarp Fells. So we'll just crack on now and we'll bring you back in a bit.
So we're just currently in Hardknott Roman Fort, and what a spectacle it is. If you're into your history, it's going to be right up your street. It's an absolute gorgeous little find up in the Lake District. You can see in the background down at the Eskdale Valley, just in the distance. Further back you can see the little village of Boot. But what a gem it is. So this was actually built in the 2nd century AD, around the time when Hadrian was currently knocking around as well and building a wall, a little famous wall up north. And they say it was garrisoned by about 500 men. Now I've actually been to this spot before and it's just a great little treat. So there's a couple of buildings inside the ground itself. I think they had a granary, a little administration office. I think the barracks where the actual soldiers stayed don't survive to this day. And just on the outside, you can also see they had like a little spa and bathhouse, things like that. It's absolutely amazing. I couldn't even imagine what it would have been like to be stationed in this back in the day. Especially when you see out over Eskdale Valley and it's such a moody valley with some of the weather it can bring. Being stationed up here, especially in the winter when some of the weather would have been absolutely howling. It would have been one of the more exotic postings in the Roman Empire, I should imagine. But yeah, we're just going to chill out now for a minute. We're just going to have a little look around, take it in. We'll get the drone up in the air so you can have a little aerial view of the place as well. So enjoy.
Little safety tip, it's really important that you stay hydrated on the fells, so make sure you keep your Stella in a handy position so you can get to it quick in the case of an emergency. Yeah. And water if you want, yeah. Water's optional.
And your whiskey.
Yeah. Make sure your valuables are quick access.
It's a lot of that.
Focusing on not dying. Gonna be some slog up this hill now, isn't it? Up to Border End.
Yeah.
I've got it clicked on the video, but I noticed a lot of
Right, so we're about halfway up Border End now, and we just spotted a couple of nice little pictures, to be fair. Just a little tip as well, it's good if you're hiking up somewhere, just to look out for plan Bs. Just if we were to go over there, the ground weren't great or the conditions were to pick up, it's always good to have somewhere you could potentially drop back to and camp. But there's plenty of spaces there for tents, even on that little ridge over there. But we'll just push on anyway.
I think so, lad, because it looks like it drops there. Unless we can contour it round, you see that bit? Right, so we've just been walking along, and just a little bit peculiar really. So, like I said, we've just been walking along this contour line, and as you can see, the clag's really come in just in literally the last 5 minutes. It's just come in really fast and changed it up. And so we're just looking at this ridge in the background behind us, and me and Greg were both saying, like, let's try and get over to that ridge, and we were expecting it to take like 20 minutes or whatnot, and then again 20 seconds later the clag moves, shifts, and it's literally maybe 25 meters in front of us, and yeah, maybe what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. So it just shows how quick it can change. And just, you know, if you're ever out here and you are a bit disorientated and you know, you're panicking or whatnot, maybe just take a minute or two to calm yourself. Not that we were panicked then by any means, but it just shows how fast and how wrong you can actually get it in this sort of visibility. So yeah, just a little heads up really, if that does ever take place and you are panicked, just slow down and maybe take it in, because before you know it, the whole situation can change.
No, it's a nice walk, alright. It's nice doing something a bit like off path in it instead of just doing shit.
Oh, starving.
Soaking, doesn't it?
Right, so we just stopped off for a little bit. We were only about 40 metres from the top, but we couldn't wait any longer, to be honest. We were starving. Me and Keith just got nice little eggs, ploughman's butty. What's your rocket egg?
I'm on some Polish noodles.
Polish noodles. So we're just going to have these, chill for a little bit, and then we'll make our way to the top.
Why do penguins stay in pairs?
I don't know.
Freeze a crowd.
Hey. You look crazy. You put a line on your head where your hood's made it. Your hood's sitting on top of your head. Just getting noodles hanging out your mouth. Right, you need to see this, right? Look at that. Nice bag of beef jerky. Nice fairly big bag. Look at that. Absolutely nothing in it. I've only add one piece out of that. One or two.
Is it one or two?
That's two, for it being specific.
Yeah, I've had one as well.
Well, three then.
So we better be complaining that it's empty.
Disgusting.
This is mad, you just keep going up and it all looks the same.
So we're just ducking down out the wind. As you can see, Hardknott cairns behind us. We've just given it a little tap. Shame it's clagged in really, but that's the nature of the beast. Obviously when you're outside like this, can come and go. But anyway, give it a little tap. So the plan now, it's around 3 o'clock. We've probably got an hour and a half worth of light. But as you can see, it is clagged in, so there's not many views on offer. So we're just going to head over towards the edge of the valley, try and find a nice little pitch, get set up and just enjoy the night. So we'll take a look and see if we can find something.
Right, so after a little bit of looking around, we finally found a spot. We just had to drop down off Hardknott a little bit. Wasn't many spaces up there. So we've dropped down about 50 metres or so and we finally found somewhere. As you can see, it's still really claggy. Not much visibility, but so hopefully at some point by the morning time it'll clear up a little bit. But yeah, for now we're just going to get everything set up, get a little bit of food on the go, crack open a bevy.
So if you've watched any of the previous videos from the channel, you've noticed that I've been having a little bit of trouble with the Scarp, just in terms of setting it up, and I've been finding it a bit fiddly, trying to put the ground sheet down separately, and then from there, you know, getting the crossover pole. So today I've changed it up. I've basically left the crossover poles at home. I'm not going to bother with them. Henry Shires has sort of said that they're to be used for snow loading. So as you can see, there's no snow at the minute. So we've gone with a trekking pole set up to hold the guys up. I'll show you that when it's all set up. But I've also worked in a ground sheet. Now I've used a Van Gogh Nevis 200, and as you can see, I've just basically took the ends from it and ran them through the clip that you use to clip the inner and the outer fly sheet together. So as you can see, looking at the ground sheet, the Van Gogh Nevis 200 is the same shape as the TARPTENT. It's the tunnel tent design with the single pole through the middle. So yeah, it looks as if it's working so far. I'm going to flip it over in a sec, get it pitched. You know, even if it's 90% of the way there, and obviously you need to go round with the pegs and sort of pull it out, that's not, you know, obviously it's a far better version and improvement of what it was.
Yeah,
Looks sound that though, doesn't it?
yeah, it looks like it's actually designed for the tent.
Right, so we're all pitched, and that tent has absolutely flew up compared to the other times I've pitched it. It's been an absolute dream of a mod. You can see down there just in the corner where it's clipped on to the four corners, and then I haven't clipped this on, but it shows, you know, it does stay in its shape straight away. You can pull this out if you want it out, or obviously if you like to tuck it in. I'm just going to leave it out tucked in while I'm getting ready. But another great thing and a bit of advice, if you look at this corner, I've actually left these toggles on and they sit just underneath the corner. You don't even have to go digging for them. They sit just underneath. And what it means is you can literally just you can just pop your hand under, give them a little tug, into the corner, and you know the ground sheet is obviously pulled taut and it's reaching right into the four corners of the tent and filling up the entire the footprint. So yeah, great mod, and I advise anyone to do it.
Yeah. Now it's the moment of truth to see if we've actually got flat pitch. Right, that's not too bad. It's on a slight slope going down this way, but I can sleep with my head up this end and it shouldn't cause me too many issues. There is a little bit of a bump right in the centre of the tent, but again I think I'll be able to get around that quite easily. I'll just set my bed up on one of the sides. Right, so we've got a nice little lineup of tents out today. 3 really popular models as well. So I'm back out in the Helm 2 Compact, which is actually Keith, so I've robbed that off him a few times. He's back out in the Scarp one, my TARPTENT. And then we've got Greg in the Hilleberg Soulo one. It's my first time actually seeing one of these in the flesh. And it is a belter piece of kit. You can see just how robust it is. Do you know what? The size in there isn't actually too bad, is it? That's bigger than I thought it was.
No, it's not too bad.
So yeah, just talking about the setup, the good thing is with this, especially in these conditions, is that all the guy out points and all the clips, although there is a lot of them, they're really big and easy to get hold of, even if you've got gloves on. And same with the zips as well, really big zips that are easy to get hold of, but they do apparently jangle a bit in the wind, so it's not the quietest tent.
So now we've all set up and we're starting to just slow down, stand around. You can feel the temperature dropping a bit. So we're just going to get some down on, and then I think the plan is really just to have a little catch up for half an hour before we lose the light and have a little tinny to celebrate a nice little successful day in a walk. And then just with it being still damp and the fine clag and mist and rain coming through, just going to put the waterproof back on over the top just to stop the down getting wet, because obviously, you know, when it does get damp and wet, it loses its insulative properties. Anyway, successful day.
Be back out though.
Yeah, at last.
Yeah, there's a lot of moisture in the air tonight, isn't it?
And you can have a look at that.
That could be bad for condensation here tonight.
That's how much moisture's
Yeah, look,
flowing about with absolutely no breeze.
So we've just jumped in the Helm 2, the biggest tent out of all three. Just going to get some food on the go now. So for tea tonight, I am on... Let's get it out. Let's have a look. Everything falling everywhere. The Soto Summit vegetable chipotle chili with rice. Sam's actually had this before when he was in Norway and said it was tasty, so I'm looking forward to it. In terms of the cook system, I don't know if you've seen the last video, it was an absolute nightmare using the alcohol stove for the first time. So I've gone back to the tried and tested good old gas stove system, which is my personal preference, and I've gone for a Soto Windmaster. This is a very popular stove at the minute, and it has been for the last couple of years. Meant to perform exceptionally well in the wind. Obviously, as its name states, what I'm looking forward to the most is just this sort of really wide pot stand on the top. Just means everything's nice and secure in terms of packability as well, which is a really cool feature and one I've actually never seen before on a stove. It's just this sort of removable stand, pot stand, just flicks away as you can see, so it's really small. You can get a tri version of this if you want to save weight and bulk. It's got a micro regulator on and just a little piezo ignition igniter as well. Another feature is just this wind ring at the top, and obviously it's concave as well, so it's meant to just give it just exceptional performance in the wind really. If you pop a pan on or a pot, you can see there just a very small gap, and again that's just to really help with its protection against the wind, so I'm just looking forward to getting this on. In terms of the pot, not a new Lixarda titanium 750 millilitres. I've cannibalised the handles off the Jetboil Minimo and just popped them on. Obviously with them having this sort of rubber protection, it just means that you don't get burnt when you're picking it up. So yeah, a new system, let's give it a go and see how we get on. So it's had 10 minutes to do its thing. It's all rehydrated, nice and warm. Just roll a cozy down. Let's give it a taste and give it a little Border Raiders rating, eh? There we go.
Review.
Tell you what, that's got a lot of taste.
It's good, isn't it? I really enjoyed it.
I'm impressed. Obviously, these dehydrated meals can be hit and miss and they can lack flavour, but that's packing. I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna give it. I'd give it a 10. Other than the fact that there could be another 10 out there. You can never give it a 10, can you?
Yeah, is anything really a 10?
That's it. You don't know. There's always something that might just be a 10 on the other side. I haven't had one of those real, what are they called, the real termits.
Real termite, I've not tried that.
Obviously, rave reviews need a small loan of $1 million to eat one. I think they're about, what, £10–15?
Is it that much, is it? Yeah.
I think so, but this, I'm going to give that a 9 because that is head and shoulders the best dehydrated meal I've had. But that is fantastic.
Bold comments.
Yeah.
It is nice though, isn't it? I told you it was nice.
Tasty.
Right, so for tea tonight, I've got a stew cooked by Chef Greg himself. Look at the size of that portion.
That's too much, that.
There's enough for about
All of us, yeah.
3 people at least there. So it's a Guinness beef brisket stew. We've got some beef in there. We've got wild mushrooms, shallots, Guinness. What else is in there?
Carrots.
Carrots.
And rosemary. Then beef stuff.
There's plenty in there. So we'll get this on. Look at the size of some of the bits of beef in this. Lovely. Right, so I've let that cool down a bit. It was piping hot, so let's have our first bite. Horrible, that. Oh, that is lovely, that. Very lovely. Like the homeliest of meals is nothing better than having a nice stew when you're out camping. That's better than any dehydrated meal you'll ever have in your life.
What is it out of 10?
10.
Nice.
It's gotta be.
Just jump back in the tent now. It's about 9:30. Just having a little catch up, the three of us in the helm too. Couple of whiskies, we had some food together. Just having a laugh as you do. Shame about the clag. Can't see much, but like we said before, it is what it is at this time of year. It's just nice getting out. Been looking forward to that walk all week, and it hasn't disappointed. Coming up, having a little walk past the fort today was great. Once we got past the fort, we haven't really seen anyone, and it's quite nice and secluded where we are, or it feels that way anyway. And I suppose the excitement, obviously, looking for tomorrow is you don't really know what you're going to wake up to, obviously, because we are clagged in. So yeah, got to be optimistic, look for the morning. Could wake up to a lovely, lovely view. But we just have to stay hopeful for that, really. So yeah, hopefully have a good night's sleep and catch you in the morning. Good night.
Right, so I'm in my tent and I'm ready to get my head down now. But before I do, I thought I'd just quickly talk you through my sleep kit, because I am a bit of a cold sleeper and I've brought a couple extra bits than I usually would, just to try and keep me warm through the night. So I'll just talk you through that. So I'll start off just with what I'm wearing. So I've just got some basic, just cheap off Amazon, like thermal base layers. Just got the long johns and I've got the thermal base layer top, long sleeve. I've got a couple of pairs of socks on, and then I've got my new mountain equipment fleece on, which my sister bought me, so thanks for that, Carly. And then just a beanie on my head. Then just on the floor, I've got this reflective mat, which just gives you a little bit extra insulation, and it's a nice layer to have on the ground. And on top of that, I've got my sleeping mat, which is the Thermarest Neo Air. And in terms of what I'm sleeping in, I started off with a Sea to Summit reactor liner. Now this is the fleece version. They have got a few different versions in the line, and I've used a few liners before. I've used silk ones, cotton ones, but I think this is the warmest in the range, with it being the sleep version. And on top of that, I've got the sleeping bag I've been using for the past couple of years. Now this is the Robin's, I don't know how to pronounce it, I think it's the Coulier, something like that. And it's the 350 version. Now it says on it that the comfort limit for men is -4, and I've had it in and around that, and I do find I am cold when I'm in those sort of conditions, and I really do need to layer up. I typically end up waking up at 3 in the morning and having to put on any other layers I can find, putting my down jacket on. So I'm basically trying to avoid that. So what I've done to try and help is I've lent this quilt off Greg. Now this is a Thermarest as well, it's a Thermarest Chorus. And I'm basically just using that over the top of my usual sleeping system, just to give me some extra insulation. And this essentially just has another foot box which hooks down at the bottom. When I'm ready to sleep, I'm just going to hook this around the bottom of the mat just to stop it moving around or losing any heat just from the sides. Find I'm still cold, I've got some cheap hand warmers here. Now these are really cheap. I think these are only, everything was £1 for the 2-pack. I've not used these before, but if I'm cold, I think that'll just be an extra little tool to keep me warm. So I'm sure people will be watching and thinking this is absolute overkill, and you might be right, I might be sweating tonight, but I've had enough cold nights this winter that I don't want to take any chances today. So I thought I'll try something new and see if it works for me. A couple quick little tips as well. Now, I'm not actually doing this today, but a little tip, if you find that your sleeping bag is a little bit too big, what you can do if you've got a down jacket or a some sort of insulated jacket, you can basically scrunch that up and put it into the foot box of your sleeping bag. And this basically just covers the dead air at the bottom just to help you from losing any heat and fill the space at the bottom. Something I've heard about recently as well is that you can actually get the Thermarest Neo-Air in a women's version, and apparently this has got better insulating properties. So if you've used that and you think that's a good tip, or you know anything about that, please do put it in the comments. So yeah, I'm ready to get my head down now. I'm hoping these extra layers are gonna let me have a nice cozy night without waking up too many times. And I'll let you know how I got on in the morning. Right, morning everyone. So we're all up now. It's about 8 o'clock, but been up since about 7, just having a chat and waiting for it to get a little bit lighter outside. I tell you what though, I had a belt of sleep last night. Those extra layers really done the job. Only woke up a few times just to, to roll about, change position, but wasn't cold at all. Really toasty. Only issue is though, there was a bit of condensation. I woke up at about 6 and I just reached my hand out onto the quilt to check, and it was really wet. So I think I've obviously generated a lot of heat having those extra layers, and it could have done with having just a little bit more airflow. So the helm does have the 2 external vents, and then the tops of the doors are mesh, but I think just having those extra layers and generating a bit more heat, I probably needed to increase the airflow a little bit. It was a really still night as well, and the air was really damp, so I think that has contributed a little bit. But I'm not wet inside or anything like that. It was literally just a layer on top of the quilt. So I ended up just cracking open the doors a little bit, and I took the quilt off because I was warm enough anyway, and that's aired out now. That's nice and it's nearly dry. Right, let's have a look outside, eh? It's still a bit gloomy out there.
So it's been a successful camp. We did get a few little peaks of the valley this morning when the wind picked up and it shifted a little bit. Overall from me, a successful camp. Great getting the Soto Windmaster out, really impressed with it. Absolutely rapid boil times, as it says on the tin. Great for the wind, and it's really stable, which is great. In terms of the Scarp one, that modification with the ground sheets being fantastic made an absolute difference. I was starting to come to me wit's end with the tent, if I'm being honest, in previous setups, but that ground sheet with it being integrated meant it was just great in terms of my pitch and my footprint. Obviously not having the crossing poles over made it go up a lot faster as well, so that was great. In terms of Sam, I think he's had the first decent night's sleep he's ever had and was nice and warm for once. So that's a positive. And I think Greg, as always, he's just happy to get out and join us, isn't he? Being an honorary border raider. So if you found value in the video, please like, comment and subscribe. It helps a lot and it just means that you get the content you want. So yeah, again, thanks for tuning in and we'll see you on the next one.